Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. I hope you're having an amazing day. We're taking a look here at the Open Network, or at least a first look at the Open Network. We've got a lot of requests for this one here recently, believe it or not, and it looks like it's gaining popularity as far as social media is concerned. But the bottom line here is that there's a tremendous amount of potential. We want to look at kind of some key level supports and resistances and just see, generally speaking, what's going to happen with this coin here moving forward. Because again, at this level, we can see that there's some previous support ranges, descending trend. We got a long ways to go before we retest those upper levels, but we do want to take a look at smaller time frames and identify what could happen next here. Okay, so we're going to take a look at some Fibonacci retracement levels and much more, help understand best practice and big picture. Thanks again to whomever and those who you know who you are has requested me to cover this coin here. I love to cover new coins and kind of see what's going on. So when it comes to a coin like this, first of all, these support and resistance levels that I kind of drew out are just based on previous data, right? So truth be told, Fibonacci retracement, those are all things that really just help us understand generally what's going on with the coin here in the relative recent past and using the past to describe the future. Okay, so again, some cool stuff there in that sense. So we're going to take a look at a few things. And if you are new to the channel, just bear in mind, I'm not a financial advisor. I do love to teach people to trade. I hope you can learn something here today. If you do want to become a better trader, we got a trading academy, community, and signals group, all linked down below. Also, be sure to check out this exclusive offer available only until July 31st. You get a $100 bonus for trading with $3,000 and $50 bonus for depositing $50. That's through BingX. Keep in mind, they allow for our community to be able to utilize a good trading exchange without having to use a VPN or KYC. It's a really awesome opportunity if you were impacted by what KuCoin, BingX, BitGet, all requiring KYC in the States and Canada, then that's probably a good exchange for you. They're fantastic. We actually have a copy trading account as well if you want to check that out. Yes, I did take a loss here recently, and that's pretty much all you see, but the bottom line is, statistically, we're about 80-85% success, and it's really awesome to be able to maintain that. So be sure, again, to check that out if you will, and we'll, again, continue to learn from our mistakes. That's just how trading goes. Even the best traders like myself actually do take some losses. You believe it or not, if you trust a trader that doesn't take any losses, they're not trustworthy. That's all I can say. All right, so taking a look here at the Open Network. What we want to do is kind of talk a little bit about this ascending trend. So we can kind of see the price action is ascending positively. It's running fairly concurrent with this Fibonacci levels here. And what we can see also, in most cases, when you look at the larger time frames, the 4-hour might reflect this a little more positively. So we had a really big downswing here recently, whereas the 20-day simple moving average is going to start working its way up with that ascending trend. So pay attention to the 20-day simple moving average. Again, we'll look at the 4-hour. It'll probably show a good, nice, healthy ascending trend here. But the key takeaway is that we have higher lows so far forming and tentatively higher highs. Okay, so these are all positive signs. Until that direction changes or shifts, we're probably going to experience the price action continuing to go up from here. Once again, we are retracing, pulling back, but we're bouncing off this level here, this 0.5 Fibonacci. And if you're not familiar with that, 0.5 on Fibonacci retracement is like a very common characteristical bouncing point for the price action to average itself out at halfway point. 0.618 and 0.5 are basically those two areas there. So we got a strong amount of support range right here. Let's take a quick look at the volume and see if that is the case. A lot of volume right there at $1.39, okay? So it makes sense as to why the price action bounced here. We got a lot of volume in that area. In fact, if we zoom out a little bit further, we can see that changes a little bit, but pretty much all the same. Okay, so again, really cool stuff there on the daily. Taking a look at the RSI, we came down to bounce off 50 perfectly. This is exactly the way that I like to play my trades. I would have bought right there at that dip here when the price action bounced off that level. Okay, so again, good little bouncing point there. There's a decent chance we'll see further continuation upside. We got MACD still converging. There's really no downside here on the daily, looking pretty strong. 4-hour, we can kind of see here that TD sequential is telling us we're at about 5. We realistically have probably another full trading day's worth of momentum to the upside. Okay, so we're about halfway through this shift. And what I mean by that is oftentimes when you continue in either direction, a 9 will present itself as an overextended state. We see it previously here when the price came up and pulled back. And then same thing down here, we got a 7 and we're pulling up. Okay, so there's no guarantee it's going to hit a 9, but there's a good chance that with us being halfway through this push, it's got more gas left in the tank and we're not overextended. Okay, so that really tells us we could see further continuation upside, and that would be very positive. We're also breaking through 50 on the RSI on the 4-hour, fantastic, with the MACD convergence on the horizon. So a lot of reasons why this coin looks like it wants to continue to take off. I think we're looking to be in pretty good shape here with this coin. Furthermore, if we take a look at the moving averages on the 4-hour, this is what I was kind of talking about earlier. Let's see, it makes a lot more sense if we kind of zoom in. But if you kind of see this 200-day set moving average, it's working its way up. That is running concurrent with this ascending trend. Okay, so again, as long as we remain above those key levels, the 200 on the 4-hour and the 50 on the daily, then I think we're going to be in pretty darn good shape here to see the continuation upwards. It may not be a straight line up. Keep that in mind. No trading does that. But for the most part, it'll continue to ascend positively here and honor these higher lows. Okay. So this next low would have to come back down and ideally be above this range here. Okay. All right. So last thing we want to look at is the hourly, and the hourly is always, to me, a pretty good determining factor. Lets us kind of know roughly where we're at. And if we take a look at, just say, the hourly, and we kind of peek at TD sequential, we're seeing a similar scenario here, right? Where the price played out to a 9, became overextended on the way down. Obviously, Bitcoin had another consideration during that time frame. We'll look at Bitcoin here. Bitcoin was on the retracement. Very similar behavior here between these two coins. Okay? Now keep in mind, this is behaving a lot more spontaneously or positively, if you will, to the upside versus Bitcoin kind of going stuck on stupid with the sideways action. Okay, so again, as long as Bitcoin doesn't have a massive pullback to the 28,000 range, then I would venture to guess that this coin here, the open network, will do very well for itself. Okay, so again, it is susceptible to trade up or sell-offs from Bitcoin. Most coins are. But we can realize that the pairing here, it's like a 2-to-1 ratio of how much better it's doing than Bitcoin. Okay, and those are good things to recognize. We're 4 hours into this continuation. We could see another 5 or 6 hours left. If we take a quick look at the Ichimoku cloud, you can see we're traveling into the cloud, so it's generally not a good idea to trade into that because this is a strong rejection / resistance area. So right there at about 145 would probably be a rejection point. So I'm not saying you should short from there, but that is a case in point where we probably will see a rejection to come back down to retest some of these lower levels here. So if we were to kind of look at the big picture here, we're bullish on both the daily and the 4 hour. The hourly is getting closer to a rejection zone. And the good news is this tells us here, if you had a short open, you should have closed it by now. Conversion lines above the baseline. So there's good momentum here. Okay. Keep in mind, those two things are very positive going into the cloud. Just recognize that this lagging cloud here effectively is something we want to recognize is going to potentially slow it down, or it could break and push through. So I see a closure above 145 today, concurrent with Bitcoin maintaining its current price point, not dropping lower. We will see the open network continue to open the floodgates and retest this high here at about 154, possibly even further. So this is definitely a good consideration for a long position. I would just kind of see how the day closes out first, right? But again, if you compare this with Bitcoin, very, very strong compared to, okay? So looking pretty darn good if you were to look at that. So again, if Bitcoin comes up to fill that fair value gap at 29,600, we'll see the open network continue to progress higher. Okay, so really, really cool stuff here from this coin. All right, thanks again for joining me here. Hope you learned something, of course. If you did, comment below, like, subscribe, follow. If you've been watching me for a while, love to hear how long. It's always very fun to kind of see that. And again, interact with my community. You do want to interact with me a little bit better. My Twitter is a great place for this. We also have a Telegram account that is very, very similar. We provide a lot of good technical fundamental data and just some, everything in between, right? So generally speaking, check that out. Love to get to know you better. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. Appreciate you watching. And we'll see you in the next one. Take good care. Bye-bye.